All right, friends, we have some breaking news out of the Giza Plateau. A few months ago, Jay from Project Unity dropped a viral video about an Italian radar study. It claimed that beneath the Khafre Pyramid, Doppler radar had revealed deep spiraling chambers, structures hidden deep beneath the earth, completely unknown to mainstream archaeology. And instantly the backlash came. These claims were too wild. The scans were misinterpreted. The chambers impossibly deep. Skeptics called it fake and said it couldn't be real. So I waited. I held off because I wanted to see the data. Well, now we have it. The full technical presentation from Professor Filippo Biondi from the Khafre Pyramid project has just been released. And what it shows is nothing short of astonishing. Because in the scans, crystal clear, is the Osiris Shaft, a real excavated structure we already know exists. It appears exactly as it should, the same shape, the same depth, and the same location. Now, if that scan is accurate, then whatever's next to it might be real too. Those deep spiral shafts, those vast hidden voids, those underground rooms, the size of the actual pyramids, all of it buried beneath Khafre. If this is real, history has just changed. My name is Zane. This is the Skyburst Podcast. Let's dive in. Before we dive deeper into the technical stuff, let's quickly bring everyone up to speed. In case this is the first time you're hearing about the Khafre radar controversy. Back in 2024, a radar imaging study by an Italian team led by Professor Filippo Biondi and investigator Armando May was shared online. Jay from Project Unity was the first to really break it wide open. He shared images generated by synthetic aperture radar scans that appeared to reveal massive underground structures beneath the Khafre Pyramid, spiraling shafts, massive voids, and symmetrical chambers. Now, these weren't just blurry anomalies, they looked clear. Too clear, some said. And that's where the controversy started. Critics said it was impossible. Mainstream Egyptologists dismissed it as pseudoscience. Reddit and Twitter were flooded with debates. Some people even called it AI generated. But here's the twist. The researchers aren't amateurs. Biondi and May are real scientists with backgrounds in structural geology, physics, and Egyptology. Still, the data hadn't been formally presented, so most of the scientific community were not convinced. Understandably. But now, the technical presentation has dropped, and it includes a scan of something we can verify, the Osiris Shaft. If that's accurate, what does it mean for the rest?
The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far.
So who exactly are the people behind this? Professor Filippo Biondi is a structural geologist with experience in Doppler radar and deep earth imaging. His partner, Armando May, is an independent researcher, known for investigating ancient symbolism and megalithic alignments. Together they form the core of the Khafre Pyramid project, a scientific initiative with a clear goal, to map what lies beneath the Giza Plateau, using state-of-the-art satellite radar. Not fantasy, not theories, just data. And now that data is public.
Beautiful. So, with my technique, that is the, let's call it modified synthetic aperture radar, Doppler tomography, which is the maximum depthness that we can achieve. Let's say around 5 kilometers, like that. It depends on the Doppler bandwidth that we are synthesizing, okay?
Wow.
About 5 kilometers below. So we have tuned 2 or 3 kilometers, and we found these shafts that that are very visible. And the first time we saw these shafts, we were, me and Corrado told me, Filippo, what are those things? No, Corrado, that's noise. The first day, the first week, the first month, but the second month we say, Corrado, we have changed the radar, we have changed images, we have changed everything, and always these shafts were completely visible. And so, how you say, by our consciousness, we announce it to everyone with a certain probability that is very high. People, there are the shafts.
Let's quickly talk tech. SAR stands for Synthetic Aperture Radar. It's the same technology used in planetary mapping. Think of those scans of the surface of Venus or Titan. But Doppler SAR adds another dimension, motion. It can detect phase shifts and density changes underground. This isn't just ground-penetrating radar. This is satellite-based, top-down imaging capable of layering the subsurface in 3D. The data is dense, but the results are precise. And that's how the Khafre scans were created, by combining Doppler SAR data with geological overlays of the plateau. So let's get to the scans. What Biondi's team revealed wasn't a single chamber or a vague anomaly. It was a structured sequence of what appears to be spiral shafts descending in helical formation beneath the Khafre Pyramid. And below them, chamber-like spaces, rectangular and geometrically aligned. And the kicker is one of these features aligns exactly with the known Osiris Shaft, same depth, same shape, same location, which suggests that the rest might be just as real.
Why? Because it is very important that radar data can be used building in the space an interferometer. The interferometer is a particular device that is very important because with interferometry we can transform the phase information of radar into something that we can use by to make topographic reconstruction. This is the phase. Topographic reconstruction is used to perform infrastructure monitoring because radar is very, very sensible. It means this. We have this object. This object is here. We are observing this object from the satellites. The satellites are flying in the space at 600 meters. 600 kilometers on distance with respect to the surface of the Earth. And if the target moves also of 1 millimeter, the radar is recording these movements. So the state of the art of synthetic aperture radar is this: we can detect the physical displacement of large infrastructures. That's very important, with millimetric precision.
You might ask yourself, why is the Osiris Shaft so important? Well, because it's real. It's been excavated. We have footage of it. We know its dimensions. So when that shows up in Biondi's scan, accurately and exactly where it should be, it kind of acts as a ground truth, a calibration point. If the scan got that right, it raises the credibility of everything around it. That's why this matters.
So now this picture was cited by Joe Rogan because it was published by Stacy Liberatore that she writes for the Daily Mail. And because in the press conference that we made in Bologna, we gave the attention about the known structures that because we are concentrating in depicting the known structures that are underneath by our technique. This is the Osiris Shaft. The Osiris Shaft has this particular shape. We have a multi-layer shape, and according to this slide show, we can detect very precisely the shoot of the Osiris Shaft. And we know, we are watching according to these tomographic results, and understand therefore that the Osiris Shaft is going down more with respect to the scheme that we know that can be. Okay? And we can see this enormous structure here that is located 2.5 times more deep with respect to the known structure of the Osiris Shaft. Yes.
So I have a quick question.
Yes.
So we live in Egypt.
Yes.
And we have spent an extensive amount of time on the Giza Plateau, and I've been in the Osiris Shaft on a number of occasions.
Yes.
So the Osiris Shaft runs below the causeway that leads from the Central Pyramid down to the Sphinx. Can you explain where is the causeway on this image?
What's the causeway?
The causeway is the connection from the Eastern Temple adjacent to the Central Pyramid that runs down to the Sphinx.
Yes.
So the causeway is a limestone structure that's made of both bedrock and large blocks of limestone that connects the Central Pyramid down into the Sphinx.
So this causeway in which depth is located?
Surface.
So but the surface is this. The surface. Correct. We have enhanced the view of this. I will send you the original. This is very important. This question is very important because I show you other results when we see this limestone that you are saying. Thank you for giving me this question.
Okay,
It was
I
very important.
have many more. Now let me ask a secondary question. So the causeway itself is visible on other scan data, but this one is calibrated to subsurface structures.
Exactly.
Okay.
You aim at the risk because you are English, and so I get the visibility, and I'm happy to help. And if it's difficult, if your but this result has been tuned in order to watch only the things that are below, underneath, and we have cancelled this because they produce aberration. So you watch only that because it is very high in terms of energy, of vibrational energy. Okay.
Okay. Second question.
Yes.
Can you explain, so according to the conventional archaeology,
Yes.
the Osiris Shaft is unique in its descending down into the bedrock.
Yes.
So it's the only feature that is known on the Giza Plateau
Yes.
adjacent to the causeway that goes underground.
Yes.
So in your image, what is the signature on the left?
This one.
Correct.
This one.
What is that?
Yes. We have to. It is a sign of new.
Something new.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So I will say that along the causeway, so there is a transverse passage that runs from north to south below the causeway that is the opening and entrance into the Osiris Shaft. And there are several other of these transverse openings on both sides of the causeway in several different areas. So that it's certainly possible that there is something there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We track precisely all these objects by observing not only one scan, but different scans.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. So now my final question for this point.
Yes.
So at level 4, that is where the Osiris Shaft
Yes.
taps into a subterranean aquifer.
Yes.
That is the water table below that particular structure.
Awesome.
And I believe that it's an independent aquifer. We have chemical analysis data that shows that it's somewhat salt water. It's brackish water. Has a very small content of sodium chloride. So it's an independent aquifer that's located directly below the Osiris Shaft. How does the water table, and this has been one of the main criticisms levied against the technology,
Absolutely.
is the inability to scan below the water table. So how, can you just clarify a little bit what we're detecting there below the third chamber and how the water table might affect those interpretations?
Thank you for this question, which I don't give you in this slide the exact answer because, as I told you before, we have enhanced some colors in order to make you see the exact shape of the Osiris Shaft, but I give you in your the response of the answer of your question in the other tomographies that I will show you, and I'll show you the difference between what there is, let's say, dry, and then the things that are below the water. And I will tell you the physical, and I will show you, I will demonstrate you the physical phenomena that happens. Okay.
One of the biggest criticisms of radar scans is misinterpretation, seeing structures where there's just signal noise. But here's the thing, the Khafre scans aren't just messy, they're orderly, symmetrical. The spiral shafts are equidistant. The chambers follow Cartesian geometry. That's not just noise, that's design. If you're looking for evidence of intelligent construction beneath the pyramid, this is what it would look like. So let's compare. The descending passage of the Great Pyramid is a narrow, steep shaft. The Osiris Shaft, vertical, multi-leveled, and water-filled. Now, look at the spiral formations in the Khafre scan. They are more complex. They curve, they branch, they overlap. And yet they echo ancient motifs, like the Jed pillar or the coiled serpent. If these are real, they could represent an architectural language we've only glimpsed until now.
Here we are scanning the entire depthness of the Khafre Pyramid. So here we have the datum is here on the top, like that. So maybe here. So from the top to here is quanto è alta la piramide? 137. Actually fact not in the original. So 137. And how many 137 in order of depthness you have from the top to the datum and so scanning below? Here we are detecting the pillars here from the top to the ground here, like that, and like that. And you can notice from who is far away from this screen that there is a spiral nature here that attracted our attention about the pillars. That's very important, like that. Look, here it is absolutely visible in here, like that. Okay.
Let's take a step back and ask, why a spiral? Across ancient cultures, the spiral is one of the most consistent symbols. We see it in Celtic carvings, in Andean petroglyphs, and even in Aboriginal Dreamtime art. In many traditions, it represents a journey inward or downward into mystery, initiation, or knowledge. If these scans are showing spirals, not just as abstract art, but as actual structures beneath one of the most iconic pyramids on Earth, then maybe the symbolism wasn't symbolic at all. Maybe it was functional. Maybe the ancient builders encoded their worldview in stone, literally carving the cosmos beneath their monuments. This brings us into esoteric territory, but not fantasy. It's about seeing ancient engineering as something more than survival-based, something intentional, mathematical, possibly even vibrational. Let's talk about the geology of Giza, because if you want to understand the implications of what was built, you need to understand what it was built into. The Giza Plateau is made of limestone bedrock, tough, layered, and dense. But beneath that limestone are pockets of basalt and even harder crystalline material. Excavating into it isn't easy, even with modern drills. So, how did ancient Egyptians or pre-Egyptian builders carve downward hundreds of meters into a spiral path without the tools we use today? And why did they do it under that pyramid in particular? If these spirals are real, they aren't just a curiosity, they're a masterclass in geological engineering. Something that gets lost in the hype is how layered these scans are. This isn't one big chamber or a freak radar shadow. The data shows striations like floors, corridors, ducts, aligned vertically. The further you go, the more it resembles infrastructure. This brings to mind something like a vertical data vault or a mechanical complex. But how do we explain something so advanced under a pyramid supposedly built with ropes and sleds? Either the mainstream timeline is wrong, or this is evidence of a civilization we've never fully understood. This isn't the first time voids were detected beneath pyramids. In 2017, the Scan Pyramids project used muon tomography to discover a massive void above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid that made headlines and was confirmed by multiple teams. But it was just one void. What Beyondi's team has now brought forward is a network, a system, a scale that dwarfs what we saw in 2017. And this time, we're not guessing, we're seeing known structures right alongside the unknown. If the 2017 void changed archaeology, these scans would blow it wide open. The Khafre Pyramid is often overshadowed by its big brother, the Great Pyramid of Khufu. But what if Khafre is where the real story is? It's on higher ground, it's the one with the better preserved casing stones, and now it's the one with the deepest, most complex subterranean signatures ever recorded under a monument. What if Khafre wasn't second? What if it was the beginning? Or a continuation of something even older? Where do we go from here? There are two paths. We can wait for institutions to catch up, or we can start asking smarter questions now. The evidence is on the table. It's testable, it's repeatable, and it's begging for independent confirmation. The next few years might bring us the answers, but only if we keep asking the right questions. Let's not be afraid to follow the data, even if it leads us deep beneath the sands of Giza. We also have to talk about Armando May, the independent investigator who partnered with Beyondie. May has long studied ancient Egyptian architecture and symbolism, and he's no stranger to controversy. What makes his involvement unique is how he connects the underground findings to cosmological alignments, especially Orion and Sirius. In fact, part of their theory is that these underground structures reflect stellar pathways, not just physical architecture. Now, whether you agree with this or not, May's research brings a symbolic dimension to what Beyondie's radar provides. One is measurement, the other is meaning. And this collaboration between cold data and cosmic vision is what's lighting up the conversation online right now.
Okay, thank you. My first approach to the Giza Plateau, and particularly to the pyramids, start from the particular features of the monuments, because they are very, very intriguing, and in my opinion, are not compatible with the tools and skills of the Egyptians during the Fourth Dynasty, and particularly during the ancient and Old Kingdom and the Fourth Dynasty. That is why I approach the study of the monuments from a different point of view, because I believe that monuments don't belong to the Egyptian civilization. But we also must better analyze these monuments from a scientific point of view, because all around the world, everyone says something about it. There are lots of theories about the pyramids, who built them, how the pyramids were built, but no one has a precise idea of what those monuments are. And also by limestone. During my last investigation on the field, I noted, because this is a question that asked me Professor Corrado Malanga, that is the team leader of the Khafre project, because he asked me, take a look to the base of the pyramids, because I believe there is something strange that you must investigate. And he refers to the platform on which the pyramids were built. See, the pyramids of Cheops, the pyramids of Khafre, for example, and the pyramid of Menkaure as well. because all the three pyramids are based on slabs of limestone that penetrate the ground for at almost 6 meters in 16 meters under the surface. And we noticed that exploring the underground of Giza using the SAR. And when we discover, and I'm referring to the Khafre Pyramid, when we discover the coils under the pyramid of Khafre, we elaborated two kinds of possible solution in the effort to understand why those shafts were built under the pyramids of Khafre. Maybe the first possible hypothesis is to port the weight of the monuments, okay? Because we made a study on the possible weights of the pyramids in respect of the base where it was built. And without these slabs, the monument very likely would collapse. So this slabs is very important limestone that is at the base of the pyramids, connected to the tubular, the coils that was in the underground. Another possibility is a technical use of the shafts, and maybe they are connected to the use of energy. But of course, those are also hypotheses that we must study scientifically, but exploration is very important. Why I'm saying that? Because in 2012, I was studying the pyramid of Khafre based on a mathematical and arithmetical model of analysis. And I approached particularly the sites of the monuments, elaborating by this model, mathematical model. And I noted that the monuments, the sites of the monuments are based on the first two prime number of the table of a prime number. That is to say, in the case of Khafre, the number 11 and the number 3. But what is very important is that that monument contains the number 137. And the number 137 is a basic number for physicists because it's the base from which originated electromagnetism, relativity, and quantum physics. And if there is this quote in the pyramid of Khafre and also in the pyramid of Khufu, it means that this number was very, very important for the civilization of build that monument. So I believe that the only way to better understand the purpose of the pyramids is the conjunction between archaeology and science. This is the only way to understand what happened in the ancient past.
Let's go even further. These radar findings aren't just floating in isolation. Back in the 90s, explorers like Andrew Collins and Graham Hancock speculated about vast subterranean networks beneath Giza, drawing from local legends, restricted digs, and partially mapped tunnels. Now, for the first time, we have imaging that seems to match their descriptions, including horizontal shafts leading outward from beneath the Khafre Pyramid. If we align those with the topography and layout of the plateau, guess what? They aim right towards the Sphinx enclosure and the so-called Tomb of Osiris. Coincidence? Or were these clues always there, just waiting for the tech to catch up? Now, obviously this hasn't been embraced by everyone. Traditional Egyptologists have raised concerns about data interpretation, satellite radar limitations, and lack of peer-reviewed excavation to back up the claims. Even Hancock has expressed his skepticism of the scans. That's fair. Science needs skepticism. But the issue is, most critiques are not technical rebuttals. They're institutional reflexes that can't be real because we've never found that before. But that logic cuts both ways. Everything we know today was once unknown, and every discovery starts with an outlier dataset. So the real test is this. Will independent teams try to replicate the scans, or will this be swept under the sands of convenience? Here's the good news. The Khafre Pyramid project didn't gatekeep their findings. The radar visuals are public, the coordinates are shared, anyone with the tools and training can attempt to replicate what they saw. So this isn't just about belief, it's about transparency. It's about giving the public and open source scientists access to the raw information, and that changes the game. In a field where gatekeeping and slow-moving academia often dominate, this is a breath of fresh air. It invites participation, not just observation. If these structures under Khafre are real and as deep, complex, and aligned as they appear, then we're not just talking about Egypt. We're talking about something older, possibly pre-dynastic, possibly pre-cataclysmic, something that predates the Nile Valley civilization we've come to know. This lends serious weight to theories proposed by Hancock and others, that a sophisticated culture once existed and left behind deep monuments hidden in plain sight. And now those secrets might be peeking back through the surface. Let's be honest, the mainstream media hasn't handled this well. When the radar scans first went viral, most outlets ignored it. Some called it a hoax. Others ran surface-level debunk pieces without contacting Biondi or May for comment. And yet the story persists because of independent journalism, podcasts like this one, and creators like Project Unity. It's another reminder that if we rely on corporate media to validate breakthroughs, we'll be the last to know. We have to give big thanks to Jay at Project Unity. Without his early coverage, none of this would have hit the mainstream. He tracked down the researchers, highlighted the scans, and sparked global curiosity around the case. We'll be linking to Jay's original video at the end of this episode. I highly recommend you go watch it if you haven't already. Independent creators are leading the charge in uncovering these mysteries, and that's something worth supporting. So what's next? We need boots on the ground. We need sonar scans. We need archaeological teams, ideally neutral, multidisciplinary teams to descend into these shafts and confirm what's really there. It's not enough to marvel at the images. We need excavation. We need verification and documentation. If the Osiris Shaft has already been explored, why not keep going? Let's take a moment to appreciate what made this possible. None of this, not the images, not the conversation, would exist without advanced satellite radar, high-resolution SAR, Doppler frequency mapping, and AI-enhanced signal filtering. This is archaeology entering a new age, and it raises the question, how many other mysteries are waiting to be revealed just beneath our feet, waiting for the right tool? It's a dramatic thing to say, but we may be looking at evidence that forces us to rewrite ancient history. The Osiris Shaft was the first clue. These scans, if confirmed, are the second. They hint at advanced planning, deep engineering, and symbolic architecture on a scale we've never accounted for. And that means our assumptions about who built what and when may no longer hold. Here's where things get even stranger. Similar subterranean anomalies have been reported beneath Teotihuacan in Mexico, and other locations in Turkey, and even certain Himalayan temples. Is this an echo of a global pattern? Were ancient civilizations separated by oceans, all building down instead of just up? It's a hypothesis worth testing, and it begins here, under the Khafre Pyramid. So where do you stand? Do you think these radar scans carry any weight? Do you believe we're standing on top of a lost chapter of humans' history? Let us know. Comment, message, share your thoughts. And if this episode sparked your imagination, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps this podcast reach more curious minds like yours. We've linked Jay's original Project Unity video in the description. Go check it out, because this story is only just beginning, and what lies beneath may change everything. That's it for this episode. See you next time. Cheers.